In this video, we'll review the elements and principles of design, specifically in how they relate to ceramics. The elements and principles are so important because they provide ceramic artists with design inspiration. They also help to create more successful artworks. The elements of art are the building blocks or ingredients of any art piece. These include line, shape, form, space, texture, value, and color. Line, for instance, is a path created by a point moving through space. It can lead your eye around the composition and can communicate information through line character and direction. Here are some more examples of how line can be used in ceramics to help create a more successful piece. Shape, another element of art, refers to an enclosed area. Shapes are two-dimensional. We can see shapes often in the surface detail added to ceramics. Here are some more great examples of how shape can be used on a ceramic piece. Form is an element that refers to a three-dimensional object. This is so important to ceramics because often we do build forms in ceramics. So, for instance, a form could be a triangle that has been turned into a pyramid. A pyramid is a form, whereas a triangle would just be a shape. So, for instance, a sphere would be another example of a form. Form is really easy to spot in any kind of clay artwork because often clay pieces are three-dimensional. Space is an element of art that describes the distance or area between, around, above, below, or within items. So if you look above, you might actually see that the vases to the right, those three vases, when looking at the negative space between them, they actually form the images of children. Space can also be used between handles and other features as an important element to a ceramic piece. Some of these images show negative space again, with the holes in between, or how space was used on the inside or the outside of an artwork. Texture is an element that refers to the surface quality or feel of an object. This can refer to a piece's smoothness or roughness. Like the images above, the spaceman looks very smooth as opposed to the pieces on the right, which look very rough or jagged. Texture is so important to clay because it adds a lot of interest. It also shows the artist's intention. Did you intentionally make your piece nice and smooth, or did you accidentally leave some bumps or roughness on the surface? Successful ceramic pieces do utilize texture in a really interesting way. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a color, so we often see value on the surface detail of an artwork. Whether it has shiny glaze or a matte finish, the value might change from dark to light. Here's some more examples of value. You can see again some of the darkness in color, lightness in color, whether it's black and white or whether it's a gradient between different colors. And of course, we have to talk about color. Again, this is something that comes up often in the surface detail of an object. Color consists of hue, which is another word for color, intensity or brightness, and value, lightness and darkness. If we use color successfully in ceramics, we can create more interesting pieces. And again, this comes in handy when we go to glaze a piece or add to the surface detail of any artwork. So we have to talk about the principles of design. These are what artists use to organize the elements of art. And the principles of design, they're really the tools that make art. So the principles refer to balance, emphasis, contrast, pattern, rhythm, and unity. And again, these principles use the elements that we just reviewed. In ceramics, balance is important. It's the way that elements are arranged to create a feeling of stability in an artwork. Balance can be symmetrical or asymmetrical in any artwork, and you'll see that the balance impacts the feeling of the piece. Emphasis, another principle of art, is given to the center of interest or focal point. It draws your eye in, it's where your eye falls on an artwork. This might be the largest, the brightest, or the lightest area of an artwork. And in ceramics, it's really important to consider emphasis and how it can create more interest in your piece. Here are some more examples of emphasis on ceramic artworks. Again, you can see how emphasis refers to the eye being drawn to different points of the piece. Contrast is a principle of art that refers to a large difference between two areas of an artwork. This creates interest and tension to the viewer. We often see contrast in the way that a ceramic piece was created, the way it was sculpted, or often in the color that was used on that ceramic artwork. Pattern is a principle that refers to repetition of design. You can see pattern all over the surface details of the artworks above. Pattern can use color, shapes, and the other different elements of design in the creation of pattern on ceramic pieces. Rhythm is a principle of design that refers to regular repetition of elements to produce a look and feel of movement. With rhythm in ceramics, your eye tends to bounce from one element to the other. Again, it makes you feel like you're moving throughout the piece or pieces. And of course, there's unity. This principle of design refers to when all of the elements and principles work together to create a pleasing artwork or composition. With knowledge of the elements and principles of design, you can design ceramic artworks that are more successful, more interesting.